to the 100 dart challenge. If you do not know what the 100 dart challenge is. So how does the 100 dart challenge work? You take a blaster with 100 rounds, you run 100 rounds through it with a timer.
The timer stops after you fire 100 darts.
Then you put it up on the 100 dart challenge list, see if it's good or bad, and see where it just lands all the time. And that is how the 100 dart challenge works. Alright, today we are looking at the Warden. Yay! The Warden is Elite's 2.0 version of the rough cut. It does the exact same thing, but is easy to break and sometimes always breaks. The handle's not as good. The pump grip is, I guess, slightly better than the original. And this thing didn't work when I got it from my friend, so I had to open it up. And it's still barely functioning. So we'll see how it does. It is a 8-round, 2-shot once blaster. Hold down the trigger for pump action. And we'll see if this thing even survives the challenge. So with that, let's just get right into it. The only issue is this thing's going to break. Just matters when and if. But it's probably going to break. With that, let's get to the challenge, shall we? Hello guys, to the 100 dart challenge. Today, we're looking at the Warden. And I'm pretty upset because the Warden is probably going to make the top 10. Even though I don't want it. And if you don't know the drill, you know. Load up the blaster. Honestly, the barrels are pretty nice. You know, hit it. On your marks, get set, go. One round did not fire. By the way, if you do not know, this thing is... One round did not fire. This thing is jerry-rigged together. This thing had an issue since it's, been bought by my friend. It had a problem firing firing half of its rounds because the locking mechanism did not catch on the second plunger tube because there are 2 plunger tubes, and it just had an issue with that. Because for some reason it is too, I don't know what you don't know what I'm saying. Man, that one just doesn't want to fire. But pretty much the catch mechanism was too short for one of its plunger tubes. So what I ended up doing was connecting a metal bar to the other plunger head. So at least gets some air pressure. Oh, that one had one up here that didn't fire. So at least it gets some air pressure. So at least 2 of the barrels will fire on the left side. Because before, none fired on the left side. So yeah, if that made any sense, you're a true nerfer. That's for sure. Because man, that was an explanation for a scientist to understand. We're doing good so far. Every single time, one round is not fired though. Every time, and it's usually been the bottom left barrel, but it also has been different barrels, like that one. I think we're doing really good, even though I hate this thing. I hate the Warden. I will be selling the Warden after this, probably on my eBay. Just because I'm going to do like bulk selling of Nerf blasters. And now the bottom 2 didn't, both bottom 2 did not fire, huh? That one was interesting. Alright, we're almost there. Alright, last one. 2 minutes, 41 seconds. So it's probably a little bit faster than that, but pretty much we're near that, like 2:40. So a little bit slower than the rough cut. Thank goodness. If this thing beat the rough cut, I would have been upset. But with that, it puts in the top 10. So let's go and see where it lands, actually, shall we? So the Warden coming in at 2 minutes, 41 seconds. It falls 6th place. It is 20 seconds worse than the rough cut, which is better in every single way. It is about 1 second slower than the brain saw, which is actually pretty crazy because the brain saw can only fire 1 at a time, while this one can fire 2 at a time. And 4 seconds away from the strong arm. Honestly, not a bad spot. 6th all time after 100 blasters. I don't like that's here, but it honestly deserves this place because of the time it got. But still slower than the greatest nerf blaster ever, the uppercut. With that, let's take it to the recap, shall we? So, how did the Warden do? Thank goodness it's worse than the rough cut. But this guy did pretty well. Had more issues than the rough cut with darts getting stuck, mostly on the lower ones. It was really the bottom left and the second bottom right one that had the most issues with firing. But it's still very good, and honestly, it is a smooth blaster. At least it doesn't break like it did before, but that's still, it'll never be forgiven for nerf with its quality control with this one. That was awful nerf. Awful. But overall, nothing really to complain. The handle I don't really like. It kind of, this little bump thing for some reason. Why is that there? It kind of just digs into your hand. The grip, honestly, is very nice and smooth, and I honestly think this is better than the rough cut, but at least with like ergonomics, but I'm never going to say it is better just because, you know, the original pump snapped off easily. But it's good. It did really well. I still hate it, and I will be selling it, that's for sure. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Check out my playlist of the 100 Dart Challenge. We've done over 100 so far, so stick around if you like this.